Welcome back, everybody. In the last video, we talked about the cost of waiting. And honestly, I know that video probably hit hard for some people. Maybe you've looked at your retirement numbers and you've thought, I'm behind. And if that's you, I need you to hear this. Being behind does not mean being hopeless, right? It just means that you need a different strategy. Today, I want to talk about 5 real things teachers can do if your retirement isn't looking like what you hoped for. This isn't talking about fantasy, it's not talking about get rich quick. It's 5 options. I've had these conversations with fellow teachers before, and usually there's this moment where people go from denial to panic. But panic doesn't help anybody. I talked about this last time. Awareness helps. And actually, action helps even more. And there are more options available than some people might actually realize. So today we're going to go over 5 of these things, and some of them are small adjustments, and some of them are bigger, potentially even life shifts. But all of them are better than pretending the numbers don't matter. So let's jump into number 1 here. Let's start with the easiest and most immediate option. Reduce your monthly expenses. Tons of financial gurus, from Dave Ramsey and so on, always say live below your means. Now it's time to actually start doing that. Reduce your monthly expense. And no, I'm not talking about skipping Starbucks once a week. That's not going to fix your retirement. I'm talking about being intentional and looking at your financial life and asking, where's my money quietly leaking? Because most teachers I know have never actually audited their spending. Let me share with you a quick little story. My wife and we've been using a cheap mobile phone provider, Mint Mobile. We were with one of the big name brands, and after paying years for just 2 phones, over $100, because I thought we were getting a good deal, we were grandfathered in. I finally looked at the numbers. And now, through this other phone carrier, Mint Mobile, over the past 7 years, we've saved thousands of dollars. Once again, this isn't just a quick, okay, I saved $100, but over time, this $100 adds up. Right now, I think it's over $5,000 that we've saved. Things like your phone bill or car insurance, subscriptions, eating out, how many times you purchase on Amazon, refinancing your debt, or even high interest payments. These can be huge, not because cutting expenses magically makes you rich, but because lowering your monthly needs reduces pressure on retirement. Here's the important mindset shift. Sometimes improving retirement isn't only about making more, it's about needing less. It's about your monthly expenses dropping by $500, maybe even more. That dramatically changes the amount of retirement income you need every month. And that's real, that's practical. And honestly, for many teachers, that's the fastest win available. Let's jump into number 2 now. You might hate this part, and that is part-time work. I know people hate hearing that because they've thought, I've worked my entire life. Why should I have to work in retirement? And that's totally fair. I get it. But there's a huge difference between working because you're trapped, working because you have to, and working because it gives you flexibility or breathing room. And I have a friend who actually just retired, and one of the jobs that she was talking about was working with puppies. Seriously, who wouldn't want to retire and go work with puppies maybe 2 or 3 days a week? What a wonderful, low stress, flexible, and enjoyable part time gig. That's completely different from the grind that us teachers are going through. As teachers, we have lots of options. My friend was going through the requirements for working with puppies, and it was exactly like being a teacher. Now, once again, you can shift the script. We can tutor. We can substitute teach. We can do test proctoring. We can do mentoring. We can do library work. As an art teacher, or even any teacher, you could go work at the museum. You could do seasonal work. You can do campus support roles, right? There's a whole bunch of different things that we can do that are more teacher focused. And even if by making an extra $1,000 or $2,000 a month, this can dramatically reduce the pressure on retirement accounts. And that can mean delaying withdrawals. It can mean preserving your investment longer. It can even mean reducing stress. Retirement doesn't have to mean never work again. In fact, having a purpose after you retire as a teacher can even help you with your physical health. Sometimes working in retirement can mean I work because I want to, not because I'm desperate. Let's move on to option number 3 here. This one is incredibly practical. A lot of teachers think I have to retire by a certain date, right? We set these hard and fast goals. I want to retire by the time I'm 50, 55, 60, right? Whatever your number is, we put these hard and fast deadlines on ourselves. But even delaying retirement by 1 year, 3 years makes a huge difference. Why is that, you ask? Because these extra years can help us increase our PERA benefits. It allows for more retirement contributions. It shortens the number of retirement withdrawal years. It provides breathing room financially and psychologically. That matters too, because some teachers think that they're facing a 10-year problem, when in reality, you might only be facing those 2 to 3 years of adjusting how long you work. And that completely changes the situation. Now, listen carefully here. Working longer is not failure. I want to make that clear. Once again, I think some teachers might feel embarrassed if they don't actually reach their goals. Don't. This isn't a strategy. This is adapting to reality. And honestly, a few intentional years now creates decades of reduced stress later. Personally, I feel like I'm behind as well. We did a couple of investments that didn't quite work out to where I wanted and was hoping they would be, and that kicked me back a couple of years. I was hoping to be retired a little bit earlier than I projected, and I might need to recalibrate some of my things. But it happens. It's part of life. Let's move on to option number 4 here. Let's talk about cash flow, because this is where retirement changes. And most people focus on how much money do I have, but a better question is how much income does my money produce? That's what cash flow is. And no, real estate isn't the only option. I love real estate. That's one of the paths that I've chosen. Real estate is powerful because it creates rental income, and that rental income can contribute monthly to my retirement. But like I said, cash flow can come from several different ways. You can have dividend paying investments. You can have investments through real estate via the stock market. We call those REITs, REIT. You could even have a small business. You can have a semi-passive online income. Teachers pay teachers might be one of these options. Renting part of your home. I see people renting out their garages as a storage unit. Sometimes, once again, seasonal property rentals, vending machines as a business. Maybe you invest in storage units, or maybe you have a partnership that you're part of. The goal isn't about becoming a millionaire overnight. The goal is about reducing pressure on your pension. And imagine having your pension, for Colorado teachers, it's PERA. Imagine having that plus an extra $1,500 from cash flow from rentals, a business, or some other form of investment. That changes your retirement dramatically, because now your entire future isn't riding on just one source of income. And honestly, teachers need to stop believing that the pension alone will solve everything. I hound on this all the time. We have a stool or a table. Your pension is one leg of that stool. Cash flow, a business, can be another leg. An index fund investing can be another leg of that stool or table. Let's move on to option number 5. And this is the hardest option, not gonna lie. But for some people, it's actually the most realistic option. And that's making a major lifestyle shift. This could be downsizing your home. It could be moving to a lower cost area, eliminating debt aggressively. This could be selling an expensive vehicle or even relocating to a different state. This might be relocating after your retirement. This is one of those things that maybe you retire here in Colorado with a Colorado money, but then you move to a cheaper state and you're using your Colorado money to live a different life in a different state. I know it's hard. I love the mountains. I love the seasons. And that's why I'm saying this is the hardest option out there. Sometimes the most powerful financial move isn't about earning more, it's about redesigning your life. Because retirement math changes dramatically when your housing costs drop, when your debt disappears, when your taxes decrease, or your monthly spending falls. Some teachers may need to ask, what matters most to me? And not every good retirement has to look expensive. Freedom, to me, matters more than appearances. So here's the thing in closing. If you're feeling behind financially, I don't want you to leave this video feeling defeated. I want you to leave informed, because being behind is information. It's not failure. And the earlier you face that reality, the more options you still have. You're not stuck and you're not powerless either. But avoiding the numbers, that won't help. Taking the action necessary will. Here's what I need from you. I want you to comment down below options and tell me which of these options feels the most realistic for your situation right now. Because I guarantee other teachers are feeling the exact same way. So I hope this video helped. Let me know your options, and we'll catch you on the next one. Thanks, everybody.